So what was your honest reaction to the video of George Floyd being murdered?
I'm not a bad guy, man. Of course, I'm not a bad guy. Please, man. Please. I can't shoot. I can't breathe. Please.
That was one of the most horrific things I've seen on TV, like in natural daylight. Because I get so many of these like forwards on WhatsApp, it just looked like another forward that was saying to me, and because it was so long, I just forwarded it. It was only when I got to the part when he started urinating and it started to trickle under the car. Well, I was thinking to myself, hold on. I stopped it and I rewound it back a bit, and then I could see him, like, he screamed out, "Mom."
Mama, I love you. Reese, I love you.
You got Hobble?
My kids, I love them.
I was just horrified from it. I only watched it once. I couldn't watch it again.
Why? Why? What did he do? What's the context? Why is this officer on his neck? More questions than answers. But it was horrific that someone even managed to capture it. And you just think to yourself, what on earth could a human do for another human to push down on a man's neck? He is literally screaming that he can't breathe. The human spirit isn't made to take another human life. You just can't do it in the normal human spirit. You have to be outside of the human spirit to be able to do something like that and feel no way that a man can be screaming and writhing on the floor in pain and you don't feel a way. Whatever's inside you is not normal. Like, if it's judgmental, sorry, not sorry. These people who are responsible for this man's death, just disgusting. That could have been my brother. That could have been my uncle. A man that is from my community, somebody that looks like me, just being taken out for no reason. Whatever the reason is, there's never a justification to take a man's life like that. Whatever sin this man has committed, whatever thing he's done wrong, it is never okay for a man to be pinned down to the floor until he suffocates to death in front of the whole world.
How many times we're gonna be getting videos or seeing blacks being killed or injured in that way by people that we pay to protect us? Psychologically, I was like, what would you have done in that situation? Now, in the UK, they don't carry guns. So a part of you would be like, I would have dived on the cop. But again, you can see that the people around there have now witnessed the murder.
Something like that. Yeah, no, that's what you want to do. I'm not scared of you, bro. And you would know he's not responsive right now. He's not responsive right now.
They wanted to do so much, but at the same time, their subconscious is like, if I help this guy, I could potentially die. It's easy for someone from London to say, because we had this debate in the shop, that I would have stopped it, I would have dived on the cop. But when your everyday life is, if I don't do what the police say, I could potentially die, there's a massive hesitance in trying to assist anybody in that situation.
Do you think it's a bit weird that black people have just become used to seeing videos of other black people just being killed or maimed or harassed by
Yeah, we can go on YouTube and there's mountains in it, all the way back from Rodney King to Trayvon Martin. I'm so accustomed to seeing him, and come on, man, the guy's called for his mom, he's urinated on himself, his heart's not, he's not even breathing no more, he's lifeless, and you're still with your knee on your neck. What does that say?
What did that make you feel like as a black man yourself?
As a black man, it made me feel like when it comes to police, especially in America, there's no hope. I was in Washington way before this happened, and we was outside just standing on the corner after a house event, and the police kept rolled up. My friends from Washington said, it's time to go. They kill black people here let's go. Part of me was like, but they're only doing a routine check. Remember, I'm from the UK. But she's like, no, let's go. Let's not even interact with him. And I was just like, it's got that bad that you can't even interact with police just in case they might just turn on you because they just have an inherent fear of darker melanated people.
We gotta control this guy because he's a sizable guy.
Yeah, and I thought he get in the car.
Looks like he's probably on something.
As a black woman, I'm watching that video thinking, you know, that could be my man. Fernando Castile, who was in the car with his partner and child. If I lived in that kind of area, if I lived in a place where, you know, a black man can leave his house and get gunned down, if that's my man, I'm like, you know, will I ever feel comfortable my man going out? You know, he's driving, minding his business. You know, he reaches the red light, all of a sudden flashing lights behind him, pull over to the side, let me see your credentials. He's fully legit. He's explaining his actions and he gets gunned down anyway.
Firearm. Okay. Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
How do we protect our black men? What's the answer? To be fair, it's not even like it's just black men that are getting gunned down, because black women are not safe either. Even here in the UK, the poor lady in Clapham that got abducted.
It's here, 90 kilometers southeast of London. Police found human remains hidden in the woods. Today, they confirmed it's the body of Sarah Everard, and a serving police officer has been charged with her kidnapping and murder.
Obviously, it was a horrific event, and my condolences to her family. But there was no talk of Blessing when Blessing went missing the year before. There was nothing to investigate, apparently. This is a young black woman who disappeared from her family, turned up somewhere, some random beach somewhere, and no investigation was done. You have to ask yourself the question.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
What was your view of the guilty verdict of the officer?
4 policemen, 3 on his rib cage and his neck. The rib cage alone, he could not breathe, so now his chest can't expand. You had all the specialists talk about that. So it wasn't just the guy on his neck. The police have caused the death. They're the ones that should be going to trial, but it was like George Floyd was going to trial. The abuser was the one that kind of got all the support, not the person that was abused. And I found with the George Floyd case is that they were trying to prove almost why he died.
Because it's the first time he's killed someone, he gets 12 and a half years. There's a part of me that's like, it's important that he gets convicted. This case became so high profile that on a PR level, it would have been wrong for him to completely get away with it. But 12 and a half years, because he's a first time offender. You know, he didn't steal someone's car for the first time. He's affected a whole community. He's taken a man's life. But somehow he gets 12 and a half years. Unless they can prove that there was aggravating factors, he could see 40 years. I just really hope that the conviction is genuine and that it's not just a PR stunt. Obviously it says he's in a maximum security prison, but you know, the length of the conviction to start with isn't really, I don't think it covers the cost as far as I'm concerned. It makes sense that somebody was convicted, so I've got mixed feelings about that, if I'm honest. It'd be interesting to see how the other officers that were involved get convicted too. Their involvement also shouldn't be overlooked. It can't be overlooked. It wasn't just one man that was involved.
The verdict was finally a good verdict, but I think due to social media, riots, and the impact of us marching and all the BLM movements and whatever, has somewhat supported and helped that. But at the same time, it felt like a tokenism reward. We'll give them something to quieten them down just in case they go out and riot again. That's how it felt.
Look at all these people that have died. And it took for a man to die like this before finally somebody got convicted, you know? I saw somebody had done an animation and they've tried their best to gather some of the cases, some of the people that have died innocently at the hands of police in America. And they're sort of embodied in George Floyd, so he's the one that sort of embodied all of them. And it's almost as if to say, you know, look at all these people that have died, but finally somebody you know, has been sent down for doing something like this. It's just really hard. Really, really hard. This has been going on for way too long. You know, my heart goes out to George Floyd's family, to his survived, and I really hope that his passing is not in vain, and that we can learn from this, that we can grow from this, and that we can heal from this somehow. Rest in peace to George Floyd.
George Floyd's death was never in vain. It's caused a massive stir and to create positive change. But we are still unhappy, hurt, and somewhat regret that it had to be of this sad situation, or, you know, that has to create this change. But not just George Floyd, there's so many people beyond that. But I think with George Floyd especially, it shouldn't need to be a death in order to create change. Sadly, you know, we don't want him to be a martyr, but unfortunately that's how he's being portrayed at the moment.
I just watched a video today of a police officer. He shot to death a 16-year-old girl who called for police help.
Walking up towards a fight in progress, a Columbus police officer fired his gun.
Unless black people in America specifically come up with systems that are going to help them and ways and means that is going to help them, this stuff will just continue happening.